Welcome back, guys, to round 4, race 2 of the weekend at Donington Park in the snow. Bidzster starts at the back after winning the first race. Neil on pole, and off we go. And it's quite snowing quite more now, a bit more now than the sprint race was. Into the first corner, Neil leads. TY might be second, might be third at this rate, because Stevie goes up the inside, down towards the crane of curves. Still side by side between TY and Stevie, but Stevie's ahead from TY, and then Jamo in the background with Sean behind him. I think Jamo's got a bit of a better setup on for this race, so a bit more comfortable. Sean behind him. At the front, Stevie's having a look. Stevie's having to defend from TY. There's TY, and then further back. Oh, there's the camera going funny again. Apologies for that, folks. Jamo having to defend from Sean. Into Coppice. Bidzster's up to 6th place from the back. So he's had a decent first few corners. He's trying to look up the inside of Sean now, but no, not yet. Jay, what's happened to Jay? Jay's at the back. Jay's fallen 12 seconds behind. But here we are, Bidzster's up the inside of Sean into the chicane. Onto the curb, round, and power on. Jamo has a bit of a bad exit though, Bidzster's coming past, and so is Sean. This is where, into red gate, 3 wide. Not in the snow, boys. You wouldn't even dare do that in the dry. Bidzster goes wide, Bidzster goes really wide. Sean and Jamo and Blakeney, I think, as well, go through. Took advantage of that very well. Oh, contact between Sean and Jamo. Jamo's off, Sean slides sideways. Is Jamo going to rejoin? Yes, Blakeney has to go up the inside of the old hairpin. A little bit of a touch. Jamo goes from 4th to 6th. Blakeney's having a look up the outside of Sean, bit of contact there as well. More contact between, that's Jamo and Blakeney, it's all happening back here. There's Sean, there's Bidzster in 5th, Jamo 6th. So, Sean 4th, Bidzster 5th, Jamo 6th, Blakeney right behind him, 7th place. Keith right behind him in 8th place. It's all very close back here. Meanwhile, Neil's got a 2-second lead from Stevie and TY, who are pretty close as well. Let's have a look at their battle. There we go. Stevie's just come out the chicane. TY should be see TY in a minute. There he is, right behind him, going down the straight. Now, don't forget, folks, this is a pit stop race, so you have to make 1 pit stop. You don't have to change tyres, fuel, whatever, as long as you make that pit stop and you come into the box, it holds you for about 5 seconds, then you go. And that's it, as long as you make your mandatory pit stop. As long as you don't do it on the last lap, it is valid. Coming down the crane of curves, let's go look at the battle further back. There's Sean with Bidzster behind him, and then further back there, there's Jamo with Blakeney, with Keith behind Blakeney, looking promising. Oh, Blakeney locks up. Keith goes up the inside. They couldn't avoid contact there because Blakeney had locked up and Keith was trying to turn well, or not trying to avoid locking up. Meanwhile, Jay Houston at the back is having a really bad race in this one. I don't think he's getting on with the car. He's tried to alter the setup and not really getting on with the car at all in the conditions. But soldiering on, because for where he finishes, he'll still get 7 points for where he finishes. Gunnar is not racing this weekend due to personal circumstances, so hopefully see Gunnar back at Alton Park next week. There's Neil in the lead. Start lap 4, there's Neil. Doing a good controlled race so far. Behind them though, Stevie and TY are still battling out for 2nd place. TY has just got ahead of Stevie there, must have done it into the chicane, that's what I can guess. And TY resumes 2nd place. Now TY really want to catch up to Neil to try and get points back in his favour. So here we go. So that's Neil, TY, Stevie, and then Bidzster in 4th place. There's Bidzster in 4th place. Running well. And then Sean behind him. Let's keep an eye on the Stevie TY battle though for now. I think Bidzster's catching Stevie. There's Jay on the right hand side letting the traffic through. We've seen that just there. There we go. Good of Jay to soldier on. I think he's been in the wall and the walls because he's got quite bad damage to his bonnet. I think. Yeah, you can see there it's all crumpled up in the background. So there we go. Bidzster is still closing up on Stevie. Very sideways through the chicane, very aggressive line through the chicane. Let's go on board with Bids on the roof cam. Here we go. Into the first corner. Runs it a bit deep. Stevie's still in 3rd. All the drivers doing very well to keep the cars running as they are in these conditions. Not the ideal conditions for racing at all, but we'll still do it. We soldier on. Steve runs a bit wide. 2 completely different lines there, as you can see. Into Schwantz. On a break. And then into McLean's. Bidzster closing up. Might start thinking about making a move soon. Let's go on board. Still not close enough yet. Alright, let's go back to track side. Closing up. Might have a look into the chicane. Has a little bit of a dart out and moves back in as I think about it. Just making sure that Stevie knows he's in his mirrors. Again, a very aggressive line through the chicane. Tries to get the traction out. Will he ever go into the first corner? Nope. We'll stay behind still. Still right behind him. Bidzster's applying the pressure. Headlights on as well. Trying to get around Stevie. Stevie defends. Bidzster puts a wheel on the snow and it helps. Rally style, past Stevie. Stevie understeers wide and Bidzster puts that wheel on the grass and then counteracts. I think that was a bit more luck than judgment, but still a very good pass by Bidzster into 3rd place. He's now going to try and stick on TY's tail because TY is his main championship rival at the moment. And so is Neil in front, but there's a closer points gap between TY and Bids in this championship so far. So that's as they are at the minute. Neil, TY, Bidzster, Stevie. And then if we go a bit further back here, we can see good old Green Keith in his, green and white, McGann in 5th place. And a bit further back than that we have Sean. Here he is, just coming through Starkey's Bridge up towards Schwantz in the Astra. And Blakeney 7th, Jamo in 8th, and Jay Hewson in 9th still after being lapped. Both BMW drivers still soldiering on despite the terrible conditions. Back with the front 3. Well, sorry, the 2nd to 4th, should I say? There's TY. And a little bit wide. He's just catching up. Not very fast, but catching up. There's Neil in the lead. Up towards Schwantz. You can see how treacherous the condition are. Just the car's squirming every time they touch the brakes. TY's running a little bit wider again. And TY's struggling with a bit of understeer here. Bidzster's right, Bidzster's right up behind him now, so TY definitely got a problem with understeer or something. Here comes Bidzster with the traction up the inside. Side by side. Coming down towards the chicane. Battle on the brakes. Onto the brakes more or less at the same time. Bidzster's got the inside though, and he'll take the position. As long as he doesn't run too deep, which he doesn't. TY uses the sausage curve, which doesn't help his run out of the corner. And Bidzster takes second place, and they'll now hopefully start trying to make a gap and chase down Neil. But TY is going to really try and stick with him. TY, oh no, TY is not going to stick with him, he's going to go up the inside, and they both follow each other. Bidzster understeered, under braking, and TY trying to follow through and making contact. So never mind, it happens. Both made an error at the same time. And up to Starkey's Bridge. Onto Ush once. Bidzster's pulling away a little bit now. TY's really going to want to try and stay with him. Meanwhile, a bit further back, I think people are starting to make the pit stops. Jay Hewson is into the pits, I think. Yeah, James is in the pits. There's Blakeney, 7th place. There's Jamo, 8th place, still soldiering on in the BMW. Just shows you should never give up for what points you get. What's happened to James? James is coming out the pits here, and James is stopping. I think he's had enough, because he's going to go. Not like James this, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, so James has stopped at the side, he's retired. Let's go back to the action. There's Bidzster in front of TY. Very squirmy through the crane of curves. And slides it into the old hairpin as well. Two completely different driving styles there. Bidzster more of a rally-esque driving style, whereas the silky smoothness of TY. Both good driving styles, both good and pros and cons to each different ways of driving. Just hear the difference in the engines. You can hear the smoothness of the TY put on the throttle, whereas Bidzster prefers to blip the power a little bit more and then get it on. Meanwhile, let's have a look at our leader. Out front, we have Neil in the Mercedes out front now. When will he come into the pits? This is a 16-lap race, so we're just over halfway. When will they start doing their pit stops? This is going to be a bit of strategy in hand here. There's Neil. Down Redgate. Coming down the hill. Let's go on board with Neil. We've not given Neil an on board yet. Let's go on board with him and see how he's going on. Down the crane of curves, where I think we're going to approach some traffic soon. So this might tell us when he's going to pit. Hear the wheel spin. You can hear the traction a little bit on the grass. Smooth on the throttle. Let's go back to TY, following Bids. Now will Neil pit? Let's have a look, see if Neil's going to pit this lap. As he's approaching traffic, might pit to try and get track position. And he's going to. Neil is coming into the pits. Now will Bidzster follow him? No, Bidzster goes round. TY goes round as well. So they're both going to try and close up a bit more of a gap to catch Neil. But what they don't want to do is go around too long and catch up to that traffic. So we'll see what happens. So Bidzster's in the lead, TY second. Coming through Redgate. Down the crane of curves. So careful around here, I'll be really careful on the steering. So where you'll see the difference in line. Look, Bidzster throws it into the corner, whereas TY chooses to be a bit more precise with things. More twitchy, very twitchy again from Bidzster in front, and then TY runs it out a bit more wide. Can get away with that though. It stops snowing, so the track's going to start drying out a bit more, so there might be a bit more of a racing line up here at some point. And they are going to catch some traffic here, so I wonder if Bidzster's going to dive into the pits, and we'll see if TY follows him or goes around again and risks going for another lap, but then might get into traffic. So we'll see. We'll see. So coming down the straight, TY runs very wide off Coppice. We're going down towards the last chicane. Now let's see if they go into the pits. Let's go onto his trackside camera. Let's follow them here. And will they pit? Bidzster's going in, TY's following him. So this is going to be a battle in the pit lane. Apologies, we can't see him at the moment. I think there was a bit of a slow movement in the pit lane there. So let's have a look. As they go in, TY goes in, and then Bidzster's box is straight away. That's why they both go slow. So that's going to lose TY a bunch of time going into there. TY's only just coming into his box now. Here's Bidzster. We watch Bidzster probably get a bit of a quicker stop. There he is. Bidzster goes first. TY still waiting. Now he goes. Now they're coming out the pit lane now. Where's Neil? Here's Neil. Let's see where they come out. There's Neil. He's passed them both. There's Bidzster and TY coming out the pits together, so they've not managed to get ahead of Neil. I didn't think they would have, because they wouldn't have had enough time with the traffic. Neil resumes the lead, Bidzster second place. So that's how that's folded out. So we'll see how things evolve from there. Right. Meanwhile, further back, Stevie's in fourth. Sean in the Opel on his own in fifth. We're in a nice consistent race. Here's Keith in sixth place. And then we have Jamo, seventh place in the BMW, not too shabby by Jamo. And then Blakeney's behind him in the Megane, so that's something to watch out for, whether Blakeney can catch Jamo with the remaining laps left. So back to second and third place, Bidzster and TY, that's the two closest cars on track. Coming down towards the chicane. Around the chicane. Oh, whoa! Very sideways for TY. That's what you don't want to do. Catch those sausage curves on the inside. The little red, you can't see it because of the snow, but because there's the blue and white rumble strip, and then there's the red. There's like a little red rumble strip that's a bit taller than the rest. TY goes off at the first corner, understeers off. Completely missed his braking point. Lapse of concentration there. He joins. He's not lost too much time, I don't think. No, he's not lost too much time, but has lost about 2 or 3 seconds on Bidzster there. Bidzster's slowly catching up to Neil. So we'll see how this goes. Could be a few last 3 laps that we're wanting to get his foot down a bit. So let's have a look and see. Yeah, Bidzster's closing up to Neil quite rapidly here. So the Bidzster's got good pace, or Neil's gone off the pace a bit. So we'll see which way round it is. Go up to Coppice. Down Coppice. To the straight. Down to the straight, down to the chicane. Onto the brakes. Into the chicane. All nice and tidy through there. That's how you use the sausage curves. You go over them slightly and over them. You go over them as the car's completely parallel to the curb. You don't want the car to be at any angle over the curbs, otherwise things happen. Don't know whether that was the graphics or Bidzster flashing his lights, but I think he's really wanted to get a move on with only 2 laps to go. Sorry, 3 laps to go. Get it right. Not many battles further down the field, all the cars are pretty spread out. So run down the positions. Neil in position 1, Bidzster position 2, TY 3rd, Stevie in 4th, Sean 5th place, Keith in 6th place, Jamo 7th in the BMW, Blakeney 8th place in the Megane, and James, who's retired, in 9th place. We'll get 0 points for not finishing the race. So yeah, Bidzster's really catching up to Neil. Bidzster really seems to catch up in that second sector. First and second sector. So it's going to be Mercedes on Mercedes. TY's further back in 3rd place. Don't think TY's going to catch up towards the end, but we'll see. So down to the chicane. Powering out. You can see Bidzster's visually closer to Neil. Neil Farmack in the lead. Down to Redgate. Now the good thing about this championship is we've got 10 rounds of the championship across the whole British Touring Car tracks that the British Touring Cars go to. Unfortunately, due to Project Cars 2 not allowing Knock Hill or Cadwell Park to have more than 11 cars on at once, we've not chosen to do them tracks just in case we get more people for the championship. So yeah, Bidzster's closer now, visually closer. He's flashing his lights. Very much closer. He's right on his tail. This is going to be a good battle for the last few laps. So we'll stick with it. Oh, TY's off in the background. And Bidzster is looking up the inside. He's still looking up the inside. He's on the inside. Oh, bit of contact there. Contact on the straight. They're still making contact. Neil's not letting it go on the track, and they go practically together, knocking the corner markers all over the place. And Bidzster's still on the inside. He said, "I'm not giving up, sunshine, if you're going to push me like that." And then over the sausage curbs and on the power, this is going to be... TY is going to be thinking, hey, I can catch up. I think Bidzster must have got bad traction off the corner there, because Neil is now side by side with him again. TY saying, keep battling boys, I want to catch up. Into Redgate for the last time. This is the last lap now. Redgate, Bidzster's on the kept on the inside, kept the lead. So Neil's behind, still close. Coming down the crane of curves, coming down towards Old Hairpin. Bidzster very sideways, he's very desperate to keep that position. Onto the brakes. He's locked up! He's locked up, Neil's at the inside. Bidzster goes wide, little bit of contact. Neil's not letting him rejoin. What's he doing? He's squeezing him off. TY's thinking, keep battling boys, I'm loving this. And side by side, into Schwantz, into McLean's. Can't really see from this point of view, side by side, but yep, and they run to, and TY says, I'm going to pass you both if you're going to battle like that. TY takes both in one move, fantastic move from TY. Bidzster will be kicking himself with all this battling that's going on, and there's contact between TY. Bidzster's getting a bit flustered here, I think. Neil tries to go around the outside to keep the traction. Now coming down towards the last chicane, anything can happen down here. Bidzster is in second place, TY's leading, Neil in third. Let's see what happens. Neil's flashing his lights in frustration. TY through the chicane. TY gets a bad run over the cut-on. Bidzster gets a bad run. Neil goes around the outside. It's going to be 3 wide at the line. And it's just TY from photo finish between Neil and Bidzster, but Neil got it second from Bidzster in third. What a final few laps that was. Very good racing from those three. Stevie takes 4th place. Oh wow, what a battle between TY and Bidzster and Neil. But there's your victor, TY from Neil, and then Bidzster. Sean will come across the line. Oh no, he won't. Sean's run out of fuel. He's run out of fuel. Sean at the last chicane, and that's a bad place to stop. Will Keith manage to get past him? Wow, Sean still can't get the car moving. That's it, he's out of fuel. He's not going to make the line. I can't believe this. Keith's going to come back. Keith's going to come through and pass him. Unbelievable. Wait. No, Keith's slowing down as well. Keeps run out of fuel, and he's just nipped past Sean, and he's stopped as well. Wow, what a strange number of events. Jamo's going to come through the chicane and take 5th place. Just shows you shouldn't give up. Wow, what a event. Wow, and Blakeney is going to take 6th place. Wow, what a race. So just to sum it up for you then, there's on the top left, that's not correct because it shows the positions of how the cars are still going around the circuit, but TY was your victor in that race, followed by Neil, who just passed Bidzster on the line because of Bidster's lack of traction out in the last chicane. Bidzster does claim the extra point for fastest lap though, so that'll give him an extra point boost, and Neil gets an extra point for being on pole position also. And then we had Stevie got 4th place, followed by Jamo overtaking Sean and Keith on the last corner of the last lap because they both ran out of fuel, and that means coincidentally they'll both get 0 points. So yes, very good racing at Donington Park in the snow. Join us next time at Alton Park Island for the sprint race. TY is leading the championship on 77 points, Bidzster on 73, and Neil 66 points. Stevie on 46 points, Jamo 37, Jay Hewson and Keith both equaling on 31, Sean on 27, Blakeney on 26, and Goon, who couldn't be here this weekend, on 18 points. See you next time, guys.